Just went and picked this thing up. It's a 2013 Can Am Maverick 1000R. As you guys know, I've been working on a ton of Polaris's lately, and I've never actually owned a Can Am, and I've never actually had a 1000cc bike either, so this is kind of a lot of new territory for me. The seller had this thing listed for 5,000 bucks, and apparently it has everything it needs to run and drive. It just needs to be put back together. I tried to get him down lower, but he pretty much stood firm at 4,500. So after a while of thinking about it, me and my buddy loaded up and we went and picked this thing up.
I went through any wiring that was in here the other day. I went through, cut it out, pulled it out. I didn't get these right here. That one snapped off the end of the drill bit.
Yeah, that's all fine.
But so anyway, so that's where I was with this. And this right here for the lift kit, that you can actually go through and tighten that up, and it stiffens up that whole front. So it just it just braces it up a lot better. I think one of the first rides, they opened up the park out there by y'all. What is that, Muddy Bottoms? Yeah. And I just got my bike back. It was a 4th of July ride, and my Maverick Max, and ended up tearing both these fuckers right off the frame. And
so you didn't mess with the drivetrain at all?
Factory, everything. Okay. The only thing if I ever messed with it was just greasing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, on the rear of it, I started going through and getting the brackets in there.
Okay.
So it's, if you see some of that, that's what all that right there is for. But I was going to go through, I would change out the vent lines just because, and you can tell they're old, they start getting stiff.
Yeah.
On the Can Ams, I don't know about newer ones, I know these, they had a deal like if you're in low, which I always stay in low, you can only get like 70% power. Even if you put it to the floor, you only get 70%. If you go high, you get 100.
That's a good idea though.
Yeah, but it's got this right here to where you get 100% in low gear and you'll get 100% in high gear.
Oh, you got that on there?
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I used to fuck around with my buddies and I'd haul ass in reverse racing Polaris's because I'm like, come on, man. But I always do. They were one reverse chain away and a bad decision.
Yeah. See, I've always had Polaris. I'm just now. This is my first Can Am I've ever got. So.
Yeah. I fell in love with them. I got God, I'm trying to think what it is. I originally bought a Sportsman 850. I bought that. My buddy bought one, and then we bought that little Razor and had them shipped in. And went to a ride, and I heard Can Am's, and I was like, "What the fuck is that?" You know,
right?
like, God dang, dude, that thing sounds good. And especially like the Max I had. I managed to swamp it before my wife showed up at a ride. That was awesome. She was not happy. So it was like the third payment in on it, but we ended up pulling it out, and I gave it to Quentin over in Bossier, and we put a 1020 kit in there, so it had a racing engine and a 4-seater, and the RJWC exhaust, and it just, I mean, it sounds good. But
them V-twins, nothing beats the sound of them.
Oh yeah, they're damn good. I mean, like I always liked the 900, the Polaris. Like the 900s and the 1000s started sounding better.
See, I got a 900. I have like barkers on it, like the dual barkers, but it's just obnoxious. Like it doesn't sound that good.
Yeah, there's some. Yeah, I'll say there's some that just
sounds like a helicopter.
Yeah, you're just like, all right, this is too. That's too much. But a lot of times what we do is we would take the 4-seater, and we had a Arctic Cat 400. We would take them, we'd pull them out of the trailer, and then we'd start unloading waders, and the bikes literally would just sit there all weekend. And if we got time late at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, I might go out there for a ride a little bit. You're just so exhausted, you get back, you're like, I'm done. And
I know how that is.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so I mean, I rarely got to ride it all the time, but when we did, and like I said, we had fun. And it's had the whip antennas on there, exhaust, as you can see, all that's wrapped.
How long have you had it? Like, you know when you got it?
I bought it off a friend of mine back in. I opened the business. Started the business when she was giving birth to him. So that was 13. I think I got it back in like 15, 16.
You've had it for a while. Man.
Yeah.
10 years.
Yep.
Jeez.
And so, I mean, all the maintenance on it, everything. Whenever I got it, his brother had taken it when he was out of town and did some festive riding in it and buried the front nose. And when he did, well, the nose on the intake was right up there. So he kept trying to start it up. Awesome. And so I said, it's done. And so I said, man, I'll buy it. I already knew I would have to pull the motor.
Yeah.
So I bought it, pulled the motor, and of course it had shit all in it. So we ended up having it rebuilt. I just went through, honed it out, all new gasket seals, new rings, everything like that on there. Hell, thus the compression you saw the other day.
Yeah.
I don't know if did you see the video?
Yeah, I seen it.
Okay. Yeah. But that's what I was telling one of the guys the other night. I think it's the starter, just the way it's just trying, but it's so weak. But like I told him, I said, man, hell, it's a 2013 bike. I was like, I said, it's not like it's only 2 or 3 years old.
Right.
So, and I said, plus on top of that, it's been sitting up. So, it is what it is. But, so, I mean, she's no beauty contest, but it's kind of like the dirty problem.
Yeah.
You take with you. Do what it needs to, but trying to think what else. Hold on.
See it coming off them blocks. What color is that, do you know?
It's electric blue.
Okay.
It's got like a pearl in it.
Okay. So basically he tore this thing down just to get all this stuff powder coated. He said that the color is electric blue. They're kind of dirty right now, but if I clean them up, they'd be really nice. But you can see they have all new bushings and everything in them. And I have all new ball joints here for the front and the rear. It also came with this Rogue hood and grill, which is pretty cool. Those go right where that little hood is and where the grill is right there. It also came with these wheels and tires. They are Super ATV Terminators, 34 by 10 by 15s, and they got MSA beadlocks on here, which are some pretty nice wheels. Again, they're super dirty, but they're pretty big tires. I got all the axles and hubs and everything. A ton of extra stuff, like a whole extra brand new airbox and a few sets of extra plastics, literally 3 belt covers, a whole spare secondary and primary clutch, the rest of the snorkel stuff. You can see the intake snorkels on, but he had the other ones off because he had these covers off. And this whole thing is painted. You can see some of the paint's peeling in some areas. But apparently he has not messed with the drivetrain at all. Whenever he first got this thing, as you heard him talking about, he actually bought this thing sunk in 2015. And he bought it from a guy he knew, and he took it to a professional shop and had it rebuilt. And then from there, they just kind of rode it every now and then, just kind of as a spare bike. But apparently he could not get it to actually start up. He said that the starter sounds weak. So that's a little bit concerning. The only thing that I'm really worried about on this thing is the bottom end, because I went through all these parts, and from what I can tell, everything's there for the suspension. So I'm not worried about all that. I'm just really worried that this thing is not gonna run and drive with little to no effort. I feel like I'm gonna have to work on this thing quite a bit to get it running, but hopefully it'll be a simple fix. First thing I wanna do is get it off this trailer. I'm just gonna wheel this hoist around over here and get it picked up so I can get this trailer out of the way. All right, got this thing on jack stands. Man, this thing is dirty. Jeez. But the first thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and get a battery in here. You can see it doesn't have one in it. And then just turn it over and just see what it does, because he was saying it wouldn't turn over very fast when he was trying to do a compression test on it. And it had 150 pounds of compression, but it was just really hard to turn over on the starter. And he said he thinks the starter's weak, which is pretty rare. But I mean, I guess it's a possibility. So we'll just try to get this thing turning over and just see what it's doing. But he said that the drivetrain and everything should be fine. Like when he parked it in the shop, he drove it in there when he took all the suspension stuff off. So it should run and drive as it is, if I can get it turning over fast enough. All right, I got a battery in here now. So hit the key. You can see it shows their name on there because they had the key programmed to it. I'm not gonna show their name. But something that's crazy, oh, I got the performance key in here apparently. It does come with 2 keys, like a normal key and a performance key. But something that's crazy is look at the hours on this thing. Like, 137 hours. This thing is a 2013. Like, let's see. Literally 678 miles. Like, that is nuts for a 2013. I mean, my dad's side by side that he bought 3 years ago has over 200 hours. And this thing is, 12 years old. That's crazy. But I guess we'll go ahead and try and hit the key and see what happens. Well, this one's actually push button. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, I really did not expect it to start up. Let me go ahead and check the oil and stuff first. It should be good because you're supposed to screw this down whenever you check it. So you gotta account for the thread lengths. So it's right in the range. All right, went through and checked all the fluids, oil level and everything's good. I did check them at his house, but I didn't check it once I got back, so I just wanted to make sure it was good. So let's see if this thing will start back up. I did not expect this thing to fire up like that. Alright, so I guess I'm just gonna go ahead and start putting the suspension and stuff together. Because I mean, this thing runs great. It sounds really good too. It's all stock exhaust, but he said he did drill this cat out. These do have a catalytic converter. Okay, so I have everything laid out here. Got the springs ready to go on over there. Got the rear A-arms all ready to go. The only thing that I found that I'm missing so far is this front right knuckle. You can see I have the one on this side. That's where your A-arm and everything actually bolts to. And I have one for this side, but I looked everywhere and I don't have one for this side. So I'm probably gonna message that guy and see if he still has it and if he's willing to ship it, or if I have to order a new one, but I'll have to get that in before I'll even be able to drive it. This thing also came with a full set of wheel bearings, but these things don't feel bad at all. They literally have zero play in them, so I'm not gonna replace the ones on the rear. But for the front over here, they did already press a new one in there, and I actually got another one ordered for the other side. So I'll have to press one in there whenever I get it, but these three are good. Golly, man, this thing looks so good. Just imagine whenever I get the Rogue grill and hood on there. Went ahead and swapped the tie rod out with the powder coated one. As you can see on these A-arms, they took these ball joints out in order to powder coat them. He already got the bushings and stuff back in up here, but I'm gonna have to press these ball joints in. He did give me a set of Super ATV ball joints. This is everything that comes in the little kit for each one. And it does actually have like a little rubber cover to keep dust and stuff out. But I think I may have just made the stupidest mistake of my entire career. I literally put this stuff in the ball joint. Like I covered it in there and was like rolling it around and everything. And it turns out that this is super glue, not grease. So I basically packed this thing full of super glue, and I felt my fingers getting sticky. So I immediately knew what it was. So I ran up there and got brake cleaner and kind of sprayed it in there and got it as much as I could out. And it's not really sticking. I kind of greased it up again. So hopefully it's good. I guess that just goes to show I'm not qualified to be working on this thing, but I think it'll be okay. axle popped in. There we go. That's pretty much it. All I gotta do is tighten this thing up. So this thing did come with a brand new set of brake pads, enough for all the way around, but it didn't come with the bolts for these brake calipers, so I'm gonna have to get a set ordered before I can get these calipers on. That's pretty much it though. All I gotta do is get the shock on, but I'll do that last whenever I get the springs and everything on them. And there is a little cover that goes right here too. I also gotta tighten up this bolt right here. This is basically like a little stiffener, like a frame stiffener for this lift kit. So you can see the original shock mount was right there. Now it's right here. I think he said it's like a 3-inch lift, but this thing is adjustable, so you can twist it to get it tight, and then you tighten the bolts down. He also gave me a winch mounting plate. You see I already got it sitting up here. And obviously the grills and bumpers and stuff. So we'll go ahead and get all this stuff on real quick, because I can't really do anything else until I get those bolts for those calipers and the hub for this side. Plus I'm dying to see what this grill and hood looks like on here. Gotta love the Allen keys and star bits, man. So I'm not entirely sure how this works, because you can see it kind of fits in the factory grill up here. But like if you try to put it up here by itself, it would just kind of look weird. So I'm not sure if you're supposed to like cut the factory grill out to make this fit in there or what, or if I'm missing. I know I'm missing a lot of hardware for these, because this one literally has nothing on it, like no latches or anything. And you can see that one bolt's longer than the other, so there's supposed to be something on there, but it is made for this machine. Fits on there perfectly. I think I'm just missing hardware for it, so I'm just gonna put this factory stuff back on, and I'll try to work out the aftermarket stuff later. All right, I really don't feel like taking this A-arm off to try and press that bushing in, so I'm gonna just try to knock it in with a hammer, see if it works. It does have a little stop on the other side that'll stop it, so I don't have to worry about going too far. Now all I gotta do is get these bushings and these A-arms. They did come with some, so it's literally just the bushing on one side, bushing on the other side, and the pin goes through it. I do is get these little grease alamites in here. You can see the little hole for them. It's super cool to see these A-arms. They're like a triangle, and you can see the frame's actually like made as an angle as well. You can see this would obviously be the weak point, because when your tire is sitting on here, it's gonna wanna go back and forth. But you can see they thought about that with putting the radius rods on. So this is definitely a pretty beefy setup. You know, this is a sport bike, so it makes sense. Especially if you get the big super ATV trailing arms, the really long ones, they look super cool. Kind of sucks that the bottom swing arm's not painted. At least I don't have to worry about like scratching it, because it is on the bottom. So I guess that is one upside about that. I don't actually have the bolts for these brake calipers. I couldn't find them anywhere, so hopefully I have a set laying around that'll work, but if not, I might have to order those too. All I gotta do now is get these springs on these shocks, and you can see they have enough adjustment on them that I shouldn't have to use a spring compressor. I should be able to just put them on there and tighten them down. So it shouldn't be hard at all to get these on. Hopefully I don't mess my spring up too much here. Oh, it's so nice. Oh my gosh. I hate to even touch it. So pretty. Blue is my favorite color, and like this type of color is like probably my favorite color. It's like a metallic with the flake in it. I don't know if you can really see the flake in it, but. All right, so after cleaning these up real good, they're super easy to turn now. So I'm pretty sure the way this works is, so I have to put this here, and this goes through. I don't think it matters which way it goes. They both look the same on both sides. So then this just, so basically it just has a little slot right here that slips through. And it locks back on this piece. And now I should just be able to tighten it down. As far as I know, that's literally it. I've obviously got to tighten it down, you know, quite a bit more, probably like around here, but it's pretty simple. I just realized these springs are directional. Oh my gosh. These are a little bit smaller, and it's way bigger on this side. See how this one's smaller, way bigger. So I'm not sure which way it's supposed to go. If I had to guess, it's probably like this one. Like I have this one small on the top, big on bottom, because that just looks weird. But if you look at these other ones, they're not like that. It's the same size all the way. So I guess these are for the front, and then the heavier sets for the back. But I'm gonna go look into that and make sure before I finish these. Just make sure that I'm doing it the right way. Okay, so I had this one right. It is the smaller end towards the top, so I'm gonna have to turn this one around. Okay, so apparently the ones that are small on top and big on bottom go on the front, and these that are the same size all the way down are the ones that go on the back. So we'll go ahead and get these on real quick, and from there I should be able to go ahead and get the wheels and tires on, and we'll actually be able to see where this thing's gonna sit at the rod height, because I think this thing's gonna be pretty tall with a 3-inch lift and 34s. Okay, I did mess up here though, because you can see these are for the front, these are for the rear, the springs are, but these shocks are actually different. You can see one of these is a little bit longer than the other one. You can tell by the threads. So these threads stop at the bottom of the shock, and then these threads stop, you see way down a little further. It's actually a little bit longer of a shock. And these are actually for the rear, which I have this one right, but this one has the rear spring with the front shock. This one has the rear shock with the front spring. So I'm gonna have to swap the springs on these two, which kind of sucks, but luckily it won't take too long. You can see the alignment is way off. Like it should be pointing like right there. So it's pointing way too far into the left. So I'm gonna have to adjust this little radius rod. See, they got a little adjustment on here. So I'm gonna have to get this thing aligned right on both sides. I'm also missing bolts for these shocks. You can see they have like the little Allen bolts, and I only have enough for this side, and there's only one bolt on that side right now. So I'm gonna have to get some more of those before I can actually put it back on the wheels and tires. All right, so while I'm waiting on that front knuckle and those bolts and stuff to come in, I'm gonna go ahead and get this interior stuff put together. He said he had all this stuff off because he was putting an upgraded spring in this clutch for those bigger wheels and tires. And I think he said he put a new belt on it too. But you can see I got these snorkels set up here just because I kind of wanted to see how they ran. I don't have it hooked up or anything yet, but basically those go up to here, and then you put the covers and stuff back on, and then you can bolt the actual risers on, and they go up to the cage. So it's pretty nice. I guess I'll put them on and run them since I have them. I probably won't be getting this thing in near that deep of water, but they do look pretty cool. Also, this belt box, in my opinion, is way better than the Polaris. You can see the seal they use here. It's like an actual, like, really nice seal. Goes in the groove and everything. And then they actually use bolts instead of those little, like, wood screws or whatever Polaris uses. And they have metal inserts in the actual cover instead of just, you know, screwing into plastic. So I really like this belt box design on the Can Am. I feel like this is way better and way more sealed than the Polaris's design. Although, you know, with that razor I have, you can get to the belt box super easy. This one is under, you know, there's a cover that goes right here under the seat. And then there's an exhaust that runs right here. So the cover literally sits like right up against that exhaust. So I couldn't imagine trying to change the belt on a ride, but this thing's still super hot. I think you actually have to go underneath down there to get to the bottom belt cover bolts. So it's kind of crazy, but you know, they all have their pros and cons. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this belt box on, get these snorkels hooked up, and get all this interior in. And then I also want to hook up some electrical stuff like this light bar. You can see he doesn't have it hooked up. He just cut the wire up there. And these whips, he actually gave me the wiring for those. So I'll get all that stuff hooked up on a switch. Get all this dash and stuff put back in, because you can see it's literally just sitting here. I think he said he was taking out all this old wiring for this light bar and stuff because he wanted to redo it. It's pretty interesting the intake actually runs right up to the front right there. I'm gonna leave that console and stuff off for right now just because I do have some wiring I gotta finish up, but I did get this front knuckle in now, so I can go ahead and get this suspension finished. I do have to swap back to these old tie rods because these are too long. I don't know if he just got the wrong ones or what, but I have to put the stock ones back on there because I can't adjust them enough to get the wheel back straight. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this knuckle on real quick, and then we'll actually be able to get the wheels and tires on and see where the ride height for this thing's actually gonna be. All right, now I can go ahead and get these wheels and tires put on. I do have to put one of the locks back on, these bead locks. You see you have one of them off for some reason. Okay, this thing is way taller than I thought it was gonna be. I even like jumped on it a little bit to try to get the shocks to settle. But this thing has a ton of ground clearance. I mean, that's crazy. And all this thing has is a little 3-inch lift. Other than that, it's pretty much stock. And the arch arms and the wheels and tires, obviously. You can see I had to zip tie up my brake calipers because I don't have the little, there's like little pins in here that holds the brake calipers in there, and I don't have them. And I just now realized I don't have them, so I'm gonna have to order a set of those before I can run the brakes on here. But I do have one caliper on the back because I had just enough to get this one caliper on. So I do have some brakes, literally one caliper. I did drain the gas out of this thing and it was like yellow. So it was really bad gas. And I think that's why it was kind of running rough. So I'll go get some new gas for it and we'll button up all this little stuff, get these lights and everything hooked up. I'm gonna have to align all the tires, the rear and the front, just by adjusting the tie rods because they are just a little bit off. And I will wash and detail this thing after I get done with it. I just want to make sure I'm done with it before I go through and clean it up. I am thinking about taking this paint off these plastics because you can see all the paint's chipping. It was originally yellow. So I think I'm going to strip all that paint off and bring it back to yellow. And if I'm going to do all that, I'm just going to wait to wash it. We'll just get it started up and just take it for a little test drive and just make sure everything's good. I'm not going to go crazy on it because I don't have brakes, but I've been dying to drive this thing, so. I don't see a temp gauge on this thing. Oh, it's right there. It's also got no gas in it, apparently. Yeah, my gas light's on. Let me put some gas in it real quick. I keep forgetting I don't have brakes. This is kind of dangerous, honestly. This is probably a terrible idea, but it's like it's not wanting to go in low. Might have to adjust that linkage a little bit. We'll just try it in high, I guess. Oh my God. Okay, this is terrifying. Okay, it feels super weak on power, actually. Okay, like, look, I'm gonna put it to the floor. Yeah, so it's limiting it at RPM, so something's wrong. Yep, that's why I wanted to test drive it. Literally didn't even make it out of the shop, and we already have a few major issues. One, it doesn't feel like the clutch is engaging like it's supposed to, like the belt's not engaging. And two, it's limited at like 3,000 RPM, so it's probably something to do with the belt. It does have like a, I don't know, I think it said seat belt, but it might be a belt. Let's see. Yeah, it just says seat belt. I don't know, maybe you have to have your seat belts plugged in on this thing in order to... Surely not, right? Where even is the seat belt on this thing? Yeah, I don't see any seatbelt stuff anywhere. Well, I literally don't see, I think the seatbelt would probably bolt in right here, but I don't see like any wires for any of that. And I already know what some of you are gonna say is, why would you put all that together without test driving it first? But truth is, it'll literally take me like 10 minutes to get this stuff off. I mean, it literally won't take long at all. But it looks like I'm gonna have to take these covers back off and get this figured out. Okay, so indeed, in fact, the seatbelt light up here will actually limit the RPM and stuff. It'll basically put it in lit mode. And the little switch is right here. They make like a little block off thing that you just plug in here, but I think I'm just gonna cut the wires because I don't even have seatbelt buckles or anything in here at all anyway, so I'm just gonna cut these wires, hardwire them together, and then plug it back in, and that should fix it. And hopefully that's all that's wrong with this thing. All right, so I got this figured out. You can see the seatbelt light's not on anymore. And all I did is just this plug right here. I just jumped the wires in between it. So these two are disconnected now. I do want to test it real quick before I put it back together. I guess I don't have to hit the brake on this thing. So let's see if it'll rev up now. Let it warm up for a second. Oh yeah, we're good now. You can finally take this thing for a ride. Crazy they have a limiter like that. Because just as a mechanic, it's so annoying when they put all those little sensors on there, because, you know, if one little thing goes wrong, it shuts your whole system down. So don't have a seatbelt light on now. The only light we have on is the gas light, but I should have just enough for a little test ride, so let's see how it does. Great. The battery's low. Seriously? Oh my gosh. Alright, got the jump box on it. There we go. Alright, now I have a check engine light. Interesting. Let's just see if it'll go through the gears real quick. Oh, that's terrifying. Let's try high gear. That clutch does not seem happy. Put it back in low. Let's try it in reverse. Try high gear again. Yeah, that belt's definitely slipping bad. Well, it runs great. It does have a check engine light now. I don't know if it has like a code or... Oh, well now there's no check engine light. Interesting. So it's only on whenever it's running apparently. And that belt is slipping really bad for some reason. It looked brand new and he said he just put like an upgraded spring in it, so it should be working. All right, I got these covers and stuff off, and the first thing I noticed is this clutch is severely rusted. Like, look up there. That's not just surface rust, like it's pitting. So the primary is really bad, and he did give me a spare clutch. You can see this one's also rusted pretty bad as well. It's not this side on either one that's rusted, it's just this side, just kind of odd. So I am gonna have to get a new primary for it at some point, but I think I'm just gonna go ahead and keep those covers off, throw the seat back in there, and take this thing for a ride because I did get all my brakes fixed up. You can see I got the brakes on there and I've already got them bled, so this thing's ready to go. The belt doesn't really slip that bad in low. It's just, it doesn't really want to go in high at all. Mainly just because the big tires, I'm assuming. Got brakes now. Oh. Check engine light came back on. This clutch also makes quite a bit of noise. It's pretty loud. You can hear that like ticking noise. That's just the primary clutch. Like, if I rev it up, you don't hear it. It makes such a big difference. It's so loud. Still have a check engine light though. I wonder if it'll rev up. It still revs up fine. Oh, that clutch is so loud. Well, I guess we'll look into that check engine light before we go ride it. I'm not sure how to get the codes to pop up, so I'll try to figure that out real quick. Okay, so apparently the way you do it is like you hold this button and use your headlight switch, but my headlight switch is not working. Like the lights are on right now and you can see the high beams don't come on. So I don't think I can really check it until I get that switch fixed, but hopefully it's nothing too major. I'm just gonna take it for a little test drive and make sure everything else is good with it. All right, baby, don't be mean. Put it in low. Once it like engages, it's good. We'll try to get it to go into high gear. Oh, brakes are not the best. I need to bleed them some more. All right, this is high. Yeah, it is not wanting to grab at all. I'm just gonna have to stay in low for right now. I mean, other than the belt trying to slip the whole time, it does pretty good. This thing sits up super high. It's crazy. Let's see if it'll take off up a hill. It did not like it. Oh, probably not the best to do that with a hurt clutch, but seems to be running good otherwise. I haven't ran into any other issues yet. The clutch is so loud. It's not too happy about reverse either. Alright guys, I haven't messed with this thing in a couple weeks. I tried to come out here and start it up whenever I was getting ready for the Muddy Bottoms event, but it basically was doing the exact same thing that the seller said it was doing when he sold it to me. Like, you can hit the button and it just won't even try to turn over, even with a jump box on it. So I actually have some time to work on this thing now. I'm gonna throw this jump box back on here because it's fully charged, and we'll see what it does. Watch this thing fire up first try. Yeah. So basically it's not doing anything. That's with a fully charged jump box on it. So, not entirely sure why it's doing that. I guess I'm gonna have to figure that out, but I'm also gonna have to figure out what's going on with this clutch as well. Like I said, he did give me a whole spare clutch. So I'm thinking I might just swap out the primary and see if it fixes it, but we're gonna have to get this thing to actually start up. This is exactly what it was doing when the seller sold it to me, so it's gotta be some kind of electrical or wiring issue. But I'm just gonna go through and check all the connections now and see if it's, I don't know, exposed wire or something. All right, you can see I got all these covers and stuff back off because I came to the conclusion that I think the starter is what's went bad on it, which is what the seller told me was wrong whenever I bought this thing. And I guess that kind of answers my question on why it had all these covers off, because if you can see it, this starter is literally tucked down in between the engine and transmission. Like with this cover right here, it comes up to like right here, so you can't even see it with this cover in here. And you can see I already have it popped out of the case right there. It's just kind of free playing in there. But the bolt to get it out is on the other side. I don't think that's supposed to be like that. I mean, I've never worked on Can Am's before, but I don't think that's supposed to come apart like that. I could be wrong. Is it missing like a clip or something? It might be the whole issue with my clutch, other than the rust. No rust on these though. The starter is just sitting on a stud on this side, and then down there is where the bolt actually goes in. So you have to go in from the other side underneath the starter with a long extension, and then it's just one bolt, but you can't actually get the starter out because you can see there's not enough room here on this side or this side. So in order to get the starter off, you have to take all these plastics off, get the clutches off, take the belt cover off, just for it to fit out on this side. And what I don't get is, if you got to take this belt cover off anyway, why wouldn't they just put the bolt right there? So you just take the cover off and undo the bolt. I mean, that makes no sense. And of course, I've never had a Can Am before, so I had to order the Can Am clutch puller just to change the starter out. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of this clutch off, get this cover out of the way, and get the starter swapped out. And I also have a battery for it, so we'll go ahead and get all that in and see if this thing will start up now. What a weird place to put the starter. I think barely fits in there. Now that I got that starter out, you can see the bolt that holds it on. The top up there is just on like a little stud. The bottom bolt you literally got to get to from going underneath the case down there. For whatever reason, the starter wasn't even like threaded. It was literally just like that on both sides. So I had to thread it out, which kind of sucks, but not too big of a deal. All right, new starter, new battery. Let's see if this thing will fire up. Nice. I guess that's all it was. Now I'm gonna have to figure out what's wrong with this clutch. You can see that the one-way bearing on this thing, it still holds, but like when I was taking this off earlier, you can see it kind of fell apart and all the bearings fell out of it. There's a few little pieces right there you can see. So I think I'm just gonna swap in that spare clutch and stuff he gave me and see if that fixes it. While I had all these covers and stuff off, I also noticed there's some exposed wires here. So they're not bad enough, like they're not actually broke at all. So I think I'm just gonna tape them up and hopefully they'll be fine. I got the spare set of clutches on here, and after looking at them closely, these are in way better condition than the other ones were. The other ones had like a little bit of like cracking on them. I don't know if you can really tell, but these look like they're in way better shape. So hopefully this thing will run and drive like it's supposed to now. Also, these clutches are a pain to get back on because they're both like spring loaded. Like there's a spring behind this piece and a spring behind the rear one here. So whenever you're putting them on, you literally have to push against the spring to get the bolts to start. But luckily this spare clutch did have the little stud that goes in instead of a bolt, but I guess the guy I bought it from put a bolt in it instead, so I just reused that. But you're supposed to use a stud with a nut, so every time you take this off, you got to take that stud loose to get your puller in there, which is just insane. The other primary clutch was making a ton of noise just sitting at idle, so I'm curious what this one sounds like. So we'll go ahead, start it up. Yeah, it's got a little bit of noise too. It's not as bad as the other one though. See if it'll engage. I do have a check engine light again, so we'll see what that is. Just gotta hold down this and then flip the switch a couple times. That's the code it's showing up, which I think is the O2 sensor. But I've heard this will go off if it has low voltage. But see, the other clutch, I literally, when I would turn this, it would just spin freely, but this one's actually grabbing the crank. So hopefully that's fixed now, but we'll go take it for a test drive and see. So the gas in this thing is terrible. It's literally like yellow. I siphoned some out just to see what it looked like, and it is horrible. So I'm sure that has something to do with that check engine light, because the only code that it's throwing is the O2 sensor. So we'll just see how it does. My brakes are still kind of weak because I need to bleed them, but it does not sound great, but let's see if it'll go in high. Last time it wouldn't even go in high, so. It's making a terrible noise though. It only ticks really bad under load though. Let's try it in low. Golly, this thing looks so good. So I mean, that clutch works, but it is making a ton of noise under load. So I might try to swap back to the other one and see if I can get it to work. But if not, I might just have to end up getting a new primary. But while we're waiting on that, I'm gonna go ahead and get some accessories on. You can see this light bar was mounted up top up here, but he gave me some mounts that move it down to in front of the roof instead of on top. And it looks way better. So I already got that on. The light bar is already hooked up and everything. All right, so you can see I got the clutch apart here. And all it does is just slide right out. And I think I figured out where the noise is. You can see there's quite a bit of wear on these. So it's like indented on all of them. So this is the one I just put on it. This side over here, you can see how they're like not even scratched up at all. Maybe a little bit. But this one's in way better shape, but this one was slipping. And this is what it actually sits on. You can see the taper. So I don't know if this one is gonna go on there because it could be worn down enough. You see it's pretty scratched up. That is just not gonna grab. I might end up having to get another primary, or at least this part, because this side, you can see the little pads in there. Pretty scratched up. Some of them are really worn down, like that one's pretty bad. They're in pretty rough shape. You can see the indent on that one. And I'm pretty sure that's where that noise is coming from. Because if you put it in here, it has a little bit of play. And I don't know if you can hear that on camera, but I'm pretty sure that's where that knocking noise is coming from. So, because if you put this on this one, this clutch wasn't making any noise. It was at idle, but once you were going, it wasn't making any noise. And you can see this one just is not as noisy as the other one. And this one over here is in way better shape. See, it's hardly scratched up at all. So I might just end up putting this one in here. It's still got a little bit of noise, but it's not as bad. So I might just do that for now and try it, because it's super easy to put it on and off. You don't even have to use a clutch puller to get this part on. So we'll just try that, and then I'll get a new, I don't even know what this piece would be called. This thing feels incredibly slow. if it's just like low power. Like even in sport mode, I can floor it and it's like. So clearly something's going on. I don't know if it's the belt slipping or that check engine light's still on. Maybe the O2 sensor throws some kind of code. So I'll have to look into it and get that figured out. Okay, so this is the gas I pulled out of the Maverick, and then this is fresh gas, and you can see just by the color that it is really old. I don't really see any water in it though. We're just gonna go ahead and drain it, put some fresh gas in it, and see if that fixes it. Just took this thing on a ride. This front exhaust, literally ice cold. And then the rear back here, you can't even touch. So it's definitely not running on this cylinder. It's only running on one cylinder. Okay, so I took the injector wire off this side, put it over here, and I took the spark plug off that side and put it over here. Let's see if that helped. Alright, I put the other plug back in that cylinder so it doesn't sound horrendous, but it did start up for a second, so I'm guessing it was just a bad plug. Hopefully that's all it is. But I did go ahead and put the injector wires back in their right spot. I still have the spark plug wire unhooked because I want to see if it's going to run on the first cylinder first. Let's see. That spark plug's bad because now it's not running on the rear cylinder. I bet it won't fire up now. Yep, so I just need a spark plug. Alright, I went ahead and put new plugs in it. This might be the first time we've ever actually heard it running on both cylinders. So let's see if it sounds any different. Definitely sounds a lot better. Probably doesn't come across on camera at all, but it sounds really good. Mismatch the clutch, it actually engages now, but it was only running on one cylinder, so I'm going to have to go test drive it again to make sure it's not slipping. But it makes a really loud knocking noise, like under load. I want to see if I can try and figure out what that is. I don't know if it's the primary or the secondary. Sounds like the primary. You can hear that knocking. Kind of goes away. It's definitely coming from the primary. I know these things are pretty noisy from factory, but it just seems kind of excessive. But it's not doing it now, but whenever it engages and you're under load, it'll knock really loud, so we'll go test drive it again now that it's running on both cylinders and see what it does. Oh my god, it sounds so much better. Still throwing this check engine light though. Oh, I can tell already, it feels so much faster. clutch really isn't even making that much noise now. Holy crap. Bro. This thing's definitely running on most cylinders now. Oh my God. It's way faster. Oh my gosh, dude. Let's see if it'll slip if I go from a stop. Oh my God, dude. This thing's so fast. It definitely sounds like something's loose in the front end though. But the belt's not slipping at all. The clutch isn't making any noises really. This thing might be good to go now. Jesus. I need to park this thing before I break it. It's that fast with 34-inch tires on it too. That is crazy. So this thing seems to be doing great now. There's a few things I am gonna have to button up on it. Like these greasing elements in here. They're supposed to go like right there and right there. I didn't have enough of them to go into all of them, so I had to get a few ordered and I'm still waiting on those. I'm also gonna go ahead and swap out this hood and grill with the Rogue hood and grill. And then I have a few accessories that I wanna hook up, like speakers and lights and stuff. The new graphics laid out here, and I thought I was buying a brand new graphics kit, but apparently these are a little bit different. Like usually these don't have like these little black pieces in here. You can see it's like a design, and then this X is way bigger than it usually is. Usually it's only like this big, so it's not exactly OEM, but I think I can make it work. Everything else seems to be somewhat close to stock. It's just these that are a little different. They go up right here, and they're supposed to go like where this little corner is and this little corner. You're supposed to line them up in there like that, and that's where it's supposed to sit. But you can see this X is too long, and it's actually going over this other one, and it's hanging off down here. It's supposed to just be like right here. So I guess I'm gonna have to move it up. Just keep it in the same spot, but move it up to about right there. And I don't think it'll look weird. I think it'll look fine. It just kind of sucks I can't put it exactly in the factory position right there. So I think it looks better right here than it does up here. But it'll be fine. We'll go ahead and get these on. These can be kind of tricky sometimes, so hopefully it's not too bad. It's sitting up a little bit higher than I want. OEM, it's supposed to sit like right here. But Gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. I think it looks fine. You can tell it definitely looks a little weird from the front, but it'll be all right. And then we got this one for the back. Honestly, I'm kind of OCD, and this is gonna bother me. I will literally be here all day if I sit here and try to worry about this too much, so I'm just gonna try and rush through them. And then it's just this big X up here in the middle. You can literally see where the OEM graphics were, and these don't even line up. They're close, but they're definitely not exact. Went ahead and got the graphics on the other side done as well. I got all the grease alamites in there and got them all greased up. So now this thing's actually ready to go on a ride. I can go put some miles on this thing and make sure everything's good. Thing's running really good though. Oh my gosh. The throttle does feel super weird. This is the first like electronic throttle body I've ever had. Besides on like my truck, obviously. It just feels kind of weird. Seems to be doing pretty good so far. Ooh, stay out of the water. We'll just stop and take some pictures of this thing real quick. Alright, let's see if this thing starts up. Oh no. Oh no, dude. Is the battery low? So one thing that I was noticing is these bars wasn't showing up at all when I was riding it, but now they are showing up. So it doesn't seem like it's getting hot or anything. And just to check. Oh yeah, the radiator lines are hot, so it's definitely circulating. And you know, now it seems like the temperature sensor's working, so I don't feel like it got too hot. I wish this thing had a voltage gauge. I mean, it would say low voltage on here, or have a battery light if it was the voltage though. I really hope I don't have to change this starter out again, man. All right, it's been about 10 minutes. Let's see. Come on. It's so annoying. We did go down a bar though. Alright, it's been like 20 minutes. Come on, girl. Come on. So now this thing literally will not start up again. Basically doing the exact same thing that the seller said it was doing whenever he sold it. And I'm really hoping it's just doing it while it's hot. I'm gonna leave it out here for a couple hours and just come back out here and see if it starts up. But even if that is it, I don't know what could be causing that. Like, what would make it not want to turn over whenever it gets hot? Because it literally ran great until I parked and stopped it. So, it's so stupid. All right, this thing's been sitting out here for about an hour. Let's see what it does. Come on. You got this. Come on. What if I put it in sport mode? So annoying. I'm pretty sure if I just leave it out here a little bit longer and let it cool all the way down, it'll probably turn over fine, but I gotta figure out why it's not wanting to turn over whenever it gets hot. I'm guessing it's just the starter motor, because honestly I can't think of anything else it might be. And the one I put in it isn't an OEM starter, it's just an aftermarket one, so that's my guess. But I'd appreciate any advice you guys have in the comments. Hopefully in the next video we'll get this thing finished up and we can take it out on an actual ride. That way I can get to know this machine a little bit better, because I've never had a Can Am, so this is all pretty new to me. But as always, I appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.